welcome to GMSL on a Thursday morning. It's the 27th of February, and in the studio today we have two very interesting guests who are here to talk to us about the CFS Pritipura Children's Home. We have with us Miss Indrani De Silva, who is the president of the CFS Pritipura Children's Home, and Miss Shantini Pereira, who is a vice patron again of the CFS Pritipura Children's Home. So we'd like to say good morning and thank you very much for joining us today.
Good morning.
Let's start at the very beginning with the Pritipura Home. I know that it's a big month in the month of March, but you've already started a celebration which is a 50-year anniversary. But before we move on to talking about the anniversary and everything that goes on there, let's talk about how Pritipura started off many years ago, 50 years ago.
Yeah. Actually, 50 years ago, we were registered as a charitable institution. They had started in 1962 in a small scale with 4 boys, you know. This Bhikkhu Soma, who a British person, and Dr. Brian De Crest, you know, they are the people who started it. Then it was all one. Then after that, very broke, and they have the infants' home separately and the children's home separately. Now we run on our own. We have a dedicated committee. We have patrons, we have vice presidents, then we have a treasurer, secretary, and dedicated committee who supports me, so that is why I can carry on like this. Now actually you won't believe that this will be my 10th year as president, and I get a great satisfaction, you know, looking after these children, you know, because what they need is love and kindness and care. That is what our house mothers give them. The house mothers are really dedicated. They don't think this is a job. They think it's a service, and they're very good. I can tell you, every one of them, they look after the children so well and give them all the comforts, and we in return want to appreciate what the staff has done, and we give them all, as much as possible, all the comforts. We can't give them high salaries because of our financial problems, but on the other hand, we give them all the other comforts and make them happy, and we take them on excursions, you know, in batches, and then take them to places of worship, both Buddhist and Christian. So like that, we try to make them as happy as possible, give them gifts and, you know, what they need. And when we ask them, they said, no, we don't need anything, and it's only for the home. Then we have people who are benevolent donors, who for years have been supporting us, you know, giving us meals, and giving a meal is also a great thing because that subsidizes from our income, or dry rations. And for the daily lunch, for the whole day, it's about 25,000. Lunch is 12,000, breakfast is 4,000, and dinner is 8,000. So like that, and tea also they charge. So sometimes some people give for the whole day or one meal. So that's a great thing, because I mean, then we don't have to spend on food so much. Last month we had practically, I think, only 2 days of the month that we didn't have.
You had to. Now, Mrs. De Silva, just to, you mentioned house mothers, but for those out there, they may not know in terms of how many people or how many children you have at the home. So let's start with how many children you have at the home, and let's talk about how they are, because there are those with physical disabilities and also some who suffer from other disabilities and ailments. So let's talk about the residents of Pritipura. Maybe Ms. Pereira, if you can talk a little bit about that.
Well, most of them are handicapped one way or another, either mentally or physically, or both. So we need specialized or special care, because they can't take care of themselves. And therefore the house mothers that we talked of.
And you have 75
residents, okay, and 21 caregivers.
And what's also interesting is that in our conversation just before the show, you mentioned that most of them, or almost 95% of them, don't have any place else to go to. This is where they live. This is their home. Pritipura is essentially where they live and will continue to live, possibly for the rest of their lives.
Absolutely.
And they don't have families that they can go back to or anything like that. So all the residents of Pritipura are there from the time that they come in. So when some of them come in when they're very young, and they stay on. The role of the house mother yet again is to let's talk about the concept of having those separate cottages for the children, and kind of trying to make this system of a family with each of those children. Let's run through that a little bit.
Well, there are two permanent mothers for these, sometimes 10, even 15 we have girls together in this cottage. It would be better if we had more cottages, but still. But we keep them very clean and healthy. They are given regular checkups if they need at the hospital. We take them. We have a couple of volunteer doctors.
Yes.
Dr. Randi Dialvis.
Yes.
He's a young doctor who has volunteered. We didn't even know of him, but he came along and he's helping us a lot. And so they have a kind of a home away from home. It's not the best. No one can replace a mother, but still. But they are kept clean and comfortable. They are well fed. Thankfully to our, we have a culture in Sri Lanka of almsgiving, so we do get a lot of alms by way of meals. So they are very happy, the children. If you see them, if you come along one day, you will be really, really happy to see how they are. And I must say they are very well behaved considering their different abilities. And I think we can pride ourselves that we are really doing a very worthwhile service.
Now for those out there, mothers, if you have one child or two children, or if you have three children, you know how challenging that is to take care of one or two or three children. And the children at Pritipura, as you mentioned, have certain disabilities, which is a lot more challenging to then take care of when you have 10, 15 in each of these houses. So essentially the role of these house mothers is to take care of everyone within those cottages. So the cottage system, so you have 6 cottages, is that how it works?
We have NORAD cottage, which is given by Then we have Canada cottage. Then we have Gladys Jayawardena cottage in memory of Dr. Mrs. Gladys Jayawardena. Then we have Preeti cottage. Then we have Bates cottage. Bates also one of our foreign donors. And we have Rosie cottage, which Rosie has presented when she was Mrs. World.
Yes, Rosie Senayaka.
She built the cottage for us.
Because she did a show for us. I think it was a fashion show, if I'm not mistaken now, so many years ago. But she did this and gave the funds, and we made that cottage for something like 3.5 lakhs, the whole cottage. So she really shared her good fortune with us.
Now, again, talking about appealing to our viewers out there, if there is a mother or father watching us and you have one child, you know how difficult the process is of trying to send your child to school, and that whole rigmarole of, you're just a day in the life of, a parent. So here you have so many children, and I'm sure education is also a part of that. It's not, how does the Pritipura home facilitate educating these children?
There is a school called the Bethel
Special Care. We send about 8 children there. But then we have our activity center where a lady comes and teach them, letters and English letters, singular letters, a few words, songs, and creative handicrafts, art, simple things that they could do. But so all the old ones also go and they enjoy themselves.
But there is no school going as such, like normal children. So no homework and all that, no tuition. So it is in some ways easier that they are all resident there and they don't go about the place. but then it has its drawbacks also.
And one of the drawbacks, I'm sure, is to constantly keep them happy.
Happy
And
and
to do
engaged,
that, you
yes.
need to have people
Yes.
come
Right.
in, or you need
Yes.
to, you know, there has to be a constant source
Yes.
of entertainment or
Yes.
something for
Yes,
them
and
to
they
do.
love dancing, music. They
They
really
just
love
love
it.
that. So-
It's like therapy for them. Then we have a playground where they have the swing and the mat slide, seesaw and all that. So in the evening they're out there. The boys,
Generally, in the course of 24 hours, what does their day start up like, and what do they do during a day, say an average 8, 9, 10-year-old resident?
the young ones go to school.
Okay.
So those who can. The others, they start with prayers, and then they're out in the garden for some time, and they have their own activities. The girls, they have their own patchwork sewing and making carpets and all that. They are involved in those, and they have this activity center. They go there and they spend till about 12 o'clock, till their lunchtime. They are there, so they are entertained.
So they are given stuff for doing art, handwork, things like that. But it's not possible to train them as such, because of their abilities. So they just they mostly play, and they have their naps in the afternoon. And
Now the system of obviously joining Pritipura or being referred to the home, how does that work? Say if someone has a child or knows of someone who may benefit from being at Pritipura, how does that work? Or if you can just explain to us how these residents come to Pritipura.
We have an admission system where they are on record when they request and record, and they have to go through the normal formalities, go through the Pradeshiya Sabha and all that. And
the
they are very
Department of
deserving cases, and that is why we have all these destitute children who are left on the road and all that, sent by courts, sent by social services, Pradeshiya Sabha, people like that. So sometimes they are so destitute that we don't have the heart to refuse, and if they are young, we take them. Normally we go according to our list.
Because most of the time, as we were talking about before the show, they come in when they're young, and because they have nowhere to go, they
yes.
end up staying
That's
right throughout their entire lives at the home. So although there are lots of young ones, there are those who've grown up at the home and who've grown old at the home. When we come back, we need to take a quick break now, but when we come back, let's talk about how you can be a part of helping at the Pritipura home. All of that in just a bit, right after this short break.